Hey guys, I'm gonna go ahead and just add on a couple people to this live. It is Thursday night, and right now we're gonna have me, Angel White, and Xavier Marrero on this right now. Let's see. Alrighty. Alright, guys. I'm so excited because we are going to have this show right now. We have some great stuff planned for you. We're going to have Xavier Marrero. He is such a respected friend, and he is a entrepreneur that is just leading the way right now all over the U.S. and just making a difference, making an impact. And I'm just very excited. Let's see here. We have to start the show with inviting. Okay. So guys, get prepared, get comfortable, because we are going to dive in. We are going to dive in right now. Topic, which I have come up with. Okay,
I'm great. Can you hear me good?
Yes. Let's see, I'm trying to add. Alrighty. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring you back on. X. Thank you so much for taking time out tonight. We're super excited and ready to dive in to talk about. Okay, go ahead, put in. We're gonna go ahead and switch back and forth. Okay. All right. All right, I'm so excited, guys. All right, Angel White, yes. Alrighty, Angel. We're gonna forth. This is my life. My name is Zida Jesus, and this is Angel White, and this what you're watching right now called Night Owl Talk on Thursday night. We have a guest host tonight. His name is Xavier Marrero, and we're just so excited to start 2021 with this show.
My goodness. Listen, the energy is high. I know it's Thursday night, but we're so excited to have Xavier here. This is a very busy man, so I'm telling you guys, if you're here, you're in for a treat, period, okay? We've known this man for a while, but the knowledge that he's going to pour on you, just what we're going to discover tonight is going to be really just game-changing. So I'm super excited. Thank you so much, Xavier, for joining us today. Super blessed. And we just appreciate you. So we had some questions. I wanted Zajanari, if you wanted to kick it off. I know that you wanted to start it off. Listen, guys, the topic tonight is wisdom. And it's crazy because all week this theme has been coming up. And Zaji's like, we're going to talk about wisdom. I said, okay, cool. All of a sudden, wisdom just keeps coming up on the radio. It keeps coming up everywhere. So I believe that it was God sent. So go ahead, Zajanari.
left and right. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring on X. We're gonna go back and forth. Angel, I'm gonna bring you on so you can go ahead and ask your questions. And guys, if you have any questions, comment it in the chat and we'll address them later. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. All right, Xavier. Let's go ahead and add you back on. Alrighty. All right, X. So like we were saying, our topic of tonight is going to be wisdom. And this is something that is very near and dear to my heart. One of my favorite Bible stories actually is the story of King Solomon. And God offered to give him anything that he desired on this world. And he chose wisdom. And that was something that was just very impactful to me, because after he asked for wisdom and God gave him that, after everything else came in line like a domino effect. His kingdom flourished, and he was able to make the best and wisest decisions to go ahead and rule his country. So me and Angel came up with a couple questions that we would like to go ahead and ask you. But first, we want to go ahead and hear your story. because I know you personally from business. We've developed a friendship over the years, and I'm just so grateful and blessed to go ahead and have you in my life and also in this show to share with other individuals looking for motivation that are just, living their everyday life or are entrepreneurs like ourselves. So, Xavier, can you tell me a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, and
Yeah,
just
definitely.
go ahead?
Well, Z, thank you so much for allowing me to be on your live. Thank you for the opportunity. Like how you mentioned before, we build a relationship not only in business but also a friendship. And to me, that's priceless. Business is business, but personal is personal, and I hold those people closer to me, right? So again, thank you for just being that good friend all the time. And to tell you a little bit about myself, guys, my name is Xavier Marrero. I'm born in Puerto Rico, so I'm straight from the islands, and then moved to Pennsylvania. And I was young, I was going into second, third grade, so I really didn't know too much English. And unfortunately, I used to get beat up a lot. A lot of people don't know that. But what ended up happening created a strong personality. The reason why is because I have three other brothers, and we were just always raised to have each other's backs, and doesn't matter what, we always had to protect each other. But obviously I didn't grow up in the best neighborhood, so we seen a couple things that probably we shouldn't, but it gave me the motivation to know there was a better life out there. When I was turned 18, I told my mom, hey, I'm moving to Florida. I told her Tampa Bay, Florida, and she goes, what the heck is that? And I said, Mom, that's another city, is located in Florida. And she goes, well, who do we know there? Like, there's no one that we know there. How are you going to go there? We're a close-knit family. I said, Mom, honestly, let's think about it. If I sit here and stay another year, what's going to end up happening to me? Look at everyone around me. Unfortunately, at 16 years old, I held my best friend while he was dying. I felt the body go from warm to cold, and his mom came up to me and said, hey, what was my son's last words? And I had to look her in the eyes and tell her, unfortunately, I can't remember. It was just so much going on that I really can't recall. So that did some damage to me. Also, my older brother was sentenced to over 10 years the first time he was in front of a judge. And I had so many other family members that unfortunately just didn't make it. But it made me be who I am today. And it also made me realize that at the end of the day, I had a duty, and that was to just create a better life, to also create a better environment. The reason why is because I started fatherhood at a young age. God, who was my girlfriend at the time, who ended up becoming my wife. Now she's my ex-wife. That's a whole different story. But I ended up getting her pregnant when we was only 17, and my son was born right before I was turning 19. So I started very, very young. But I got to say, it was the biggest blessing in my life. And it just made me focus on what really mattered in life. And that was just becoming successful. The reason why is because I had to show him a better living, and I had to put him in a different environment that I grew up in. And from there, just like a lot of people, we started working. I started working corporate America. That's a lot of times. That's what we was brainwashed to do. Go to school, get good grades. If you have the opportunity to go to college, do that so you can get a good job. I didn't go to college. I didn't have that privilege, but I would try to go and get a good job. My hustle spoke for itself. I worked for a good company at the time, which was Verizon Wireless, provided me some very good training. And but unfortunately, I also lost that job. The reason why is I don't follow instructions too well, and it just took me down in a black hole again. And fast forward a little later on, I realized I was an entrepreneur. I was in spirit, I was always an entrepreneur. And I just took the leap of faith and I became a professional network marketer. I started learning about the internet money. I started learning about how I can make money on the go, how I can make money wherever I'm at, and also how I can make money while sleeping. And learned about residual income, started learning about investments, and that's where I'm at today.
Wow, what a story! So inspiring. Just seeing, or hearing where you've come from and what you've had to go through to get to the point you are today. And you know what? That is just something that's something beautiful. It inspires other people that might have been or are in the similar situation that you were younger. So it's just so inspirational. X, thank you for sharing your story with us. We really, really appreciate it. I did want to go ahead and start off with our first question. The topic is wisdom, and wisdom is defined as quality of having experience, knowledge, and good judgment. So, X, what does
Well,
wisdom mean
exactly
to
what you
you?
just said. I've been through so much in life, like I was explaining, which I left a lot of parts out because it gets very deep. But just the experience that I went through, just seeing how people were moving, seeing how people were reacting, and basically just saying, you know what, if I want something better, how do I learn from people every single time? It could be good or bad. A lot of people think that you have to be around the right person to become the right individual, but I learned that you could be around the wrong person and still become the right individual because you have learned from their experience. And you say, hey, I never want to go down that path. I never want to make that decision because I know what's going to end up happening. And then the wisdom just kind of came with, just seeing a lot of things that I never really wanted in my life, especially in my kids' life. And just constantly being a student. So a lot of times people just want to talk, 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 but God gave you one mouth and two ears for a reason. Just shut up and listen, right? And at that time, I realized, hey, you know what? If I'm the person in the room that it's not the smartest, that's a great thing. If I'm the person in the room that's not the most successful, then that's a great thing because all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shut up and listen. And I never let my pride get in the way. And I was forever a student. I'm still am forever a student, even though we generate over $1 million in business every single month. I'm still stay very humble. That's another thing about wisdom, staying humble. A lot of people get to a certain point, and that was a blessing from God. If you sit here and you start flexing on people, or you just don't stay humble, God will take that away from you right away. And I tell you that from experience. I left that part out during my story. I seen success in the corporate America where I made the six figures with Verizon because I was the top selling rep. But when it happening, I wasn't very faithful to the provider, which was my God. So whoever you believe in, that's your provider, that's your promiser. I was actually seeking the promise more than the promiser itself. So once you leave the promiser out, then your promises are automatically going to disappear. And that's something that I realized. And for me, that was wisdom. It was more like seek him before seeking anything else. And just like how you said the story, at the end of the day, it's a domino effect. All the promises are going to come because you're putting the promiser before anything else. So seek the promiser before the promise.
Amen. Amen. So much for that. Let me go ahead and put on Angel for the next question. And before I do that, I just wanted to touch on the subject of, you know, who you keep around you. You said if you're not the smartest person in the room, that's the right room to be in. And I completely agree. In my life experience, I've been around people, that since childhood. You grow up where your parents raise you. But that's something that is chosen for you, not something that you choose. And the people that you keep around you, you can choose. Every day of your life that you wake up, you can go ahead and choose who you want to go ahead and relate to, who you want to confide in, and who you want to spend most of your time in to influence you in the way that you want with the life you want to live. So I completely agree with that. I'm a mother as well, and it's just been a journey. And choosing that for our kids is everything. It's gold to them. Alrighty, so let me go ahead and bring Angel on, and she's gonna go ahead and ask you the next question. Okay, Angel, are you there? Alrighty. Alrighty, Angel, you're there. Alrighty. So we
Okay.
have a next question for X. Go ahead. Just
Yes.
let him know what we're
So
wondering here.
Xavier, you
And
talked
let
about your
Paul talk.
story and you gave us a little bit
Mhm.
about your background in the past. What we want to know now is how does this wisdom, all the wisdom that you've gained, how does that actually apply to your daily life now? How does that apply to your daily life now?
All right, Xavier. Let's go ahead and bring you back on. So the question is for those that you didn't hear, what is a way that you can go ahead? apply wisdom to your daily
I
life?
mean, wisdom is there. So, wisdom was going to allow you to make the best decision based on the situation that they brings to you, right? So, I know for a fact, I just have a routine. My routine is to wake up before I grab my cell phone. I'm opening up my Bible. I'm reading a verse. I'm saying my prayers. But with the wisdom throughout the day, it's just going to allow me to make what I feel is going to be the best decision in every single situation that I'm in, based off of experience, based off of knowledge, based off of, whatever the case might be. That's what I'm going to do is, hey, I know about this, or I have heard about this through a mentor or a friend or a business partner. You know what I mean? I'm going to use that knowledge, which is terminology or can be used as a terminology as wisdom, and I'm going to go ahead and make the best decision for me, for my future, for my son, his future, for my parents and their future as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, I heard in of course, we love to listen to motivational and inspirational speakers. And out of so many that I've listened to, there was one thing that one of the speakers said that really struck a chord with me. And that was, we are a culmination, or we are a sum of the decisions that we've made at some point in time. And wisdom is generally, to me, making the right decisions. And in daily life, I really try to strive to go ahead and make the wisest decision. I know many people want to go ahead and be perfect. Many people want to go ahead and just have a perfect life. And if it doesn't go how they planned for it to go, they want to go ahead and say, oh, that wasn't the best decision. But you know what? Today, if you go ahead and look back, answer me this question. If you go ahead and look back and you have the knowledge that you have now, years and years and years ago, would you still make the same
I
decision?
mean, that's kind of a double-edged sword question. The reason why is because I am where I am today based off all the decisions I made, good and bad, right? So everyone always say, hey, if I have the knowledge that I have today back then, I would be way better. Of course, that's almost like you're traveling back into time. You have the wisdom, you have the knowledge, you have the experience, but I think it will really affect who you really are at the moment. It's like, oh, if I can go back into time, make different decisions, I can, in the future I'll be way better. Of course we can all say that, right? But to me, I'm very happy of who I am today based off of all decisions I made, good and bad, because the bad decisions, my father always told me, a loss is not loss. It's a lesson for you to get better in that situation if it ever arises, or at least you can educate somebody else on it. So I have to say, to answer that question is kind of hard for me because I'm very satisfied where I'm at, even to the point having becoming a father at a young age. Now I'm seeing the success. My son is 16 years old. We travel wherever we want to travel. I don't have to worry about changing diapers. I don't have to worry about feeding him. He goes and cooks his own food. He goes and orders his own food and Uber Eats. He does everything that he wants. And now I'm a young father. He's a teenager, and we get to bond so much. So a lot of people are like, well, if I knew what I knew now back then, I would have made sure I had protected sex, right? Yeah, that's cool, you know what I mean? But to me, I would have blocked my biggest blessing because my son was the one that really made me change my life because now I knew I wasn't living for myself. I was living for someone else. And then when it comes to business, if I knew what I knew now back then, I would have never had a job. But corporate America is the one who turned a ghetto kid to a professional individual. Corporate America was the one who provided me training that I couldn't afford at the time, when it came to sales training, building reports, from personal and from business. How does the human mind works? How do you even actually almost manipulate the human brain when it comes to closing a deal? Not in a negative way, but in a positive way. You definitely always want to drive the vehicle. So I'll be honest with you, to answer that question, it's almost like I don't know how to answer that. I'm very glad in every decision I made, good and bad, because again, it made me who I am today and it put me in the position I am today. And I'm very grateful where I'm at today, to the point where even I made decisions and became homeless. That's something that I left out. I became homeless when my son was 12 years old. And the reason why is because I made a very bad business decision where it cost me over 70 grand. And that was my life savings. That was back then. I was young. So think about 70 grand right now to a lot of people, it's a lot of money. So imagine back then. But you know what my mentor told me? He said, Xavier, why are you so pissed? At the end of the day, you went to business school and you paid it off. How much did you learn from it? And I'm like, wow, you're so right. So even the losses that I lost, it wasn't losses. It was gains. It was knowledge. It was wisdom.
Exactly. In life experiences, as long as we learn from them, we look back and all those obstacles are definitely lessons. And that's the main thing. You know, when you go ahead and you talk to your parents or you talk to your grandparents or older family members, they always tell you stories. And as youngsters, we don't really pay attention to them. It's not really important, just old stories. But when you think about it, they've had so many more experiences because of the years they've been on this earth. And for us to just go ahead and absorb that, even from our mentors, is just something that is so valuable. So, okay, so let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and have Angel back on. She's going to go ahead and ask you the next question. Let's see here. Okay. Angel, why? Let's bring you back on camera. Oh my gosh. Such a blessing. Such a blessing.
Hey, how are you?
Angel.
So
Hey.
I was listening in, and I know that Xavier was talking about his, his life experiences, and the wisdom that he gained even from the losses, which I love what he said. A loss is not a loss, it's a lesson, right? And it's so true. But one thing that we wanted to ask is what experiences have helped to shape your mindset in that, I know that you said he's, very happy and is satisfied where you are right now. So what experiences have actually um, shaped your mindset to be where it's at right now? And what in addition to what experiences, what other tools or resources have you used to shape your mindset?
Alrighty. Xavier Marrero, mindset. And I know we've had so many trainings on mindset. So important in the business world and in personal life as well.
All right, so there's a delay. So I think I'm gonna be able to answer the question. Experiences, man, where do I start? From the experience that I grew up in Puerto Rico, I didn't even know what a glass window looked like. I didn't know Central Air even existed. Never knew about a mall. Didn't really know about a grocery store. We we sat there. We had chickens. We had pigs. We we raised them. We killed them. We ate them. Um, so that made me very grateful for everything I have around me. Experience where going in a ghetto where it wasn't a safe environment. So that right there was another experience. This is why I live in the neighborhood that I live now, because my son would never experience that. Experience where I did. I had several family members get killed. I had several family members that did kill him, and just knowing that life is so short, and that at the end of the day, coming wrong across the wrong person can definitely just end everything. So, there's so many things, so many experiences that I can go down that just molded me to be the person I am, very humble, very to myself. I love just giving, because one thing is we never had someone around that could just provide to give. Now, don't get me wrong, my dad always provided, my mom did too, but they didn't know what they didn't. When you don't know what you don't know, what I mean, they just knew how to work in a factory. Obviously, when you come to the States, a lot of times they get taken full advantage of, because they're hardworking people, but they're paying them bare minimum. And that was my mom and that was my dad. So I seen how hard it worked. I seen that they never gave up. I seen how my dad was able to take us from Puerto Rico to Pennsylvania, even though it's in the best area. But I'm like, if he could do that, then it's my duty, my job to continue the growth, right? To continue moving forward, because I see my dad do it. And to the point where my dad never got involved in selling drugs, even though everyone around us was selling drugs. My dad used to always say, I will always sweat for my money. So that's how I got the grind in me. That's how I got the work ethic that I have. Even though I seen so many hustlers around me, it was more like, hey, I can work very hard because my dad did it, my mom did it. I seen it firsthand, And then, like I said, becoming homeless, that was an experience that I would never go back to. And I remember looking my son in his eyes and promise him that I would never put him in that situation again. And that right there just allowed me to become who I am. And then the resources that I used was YouTube. I wasn't scared to, first of all, drive around in neighborhoods that I didn't belong in. I remember going to the gate and they would just ask me like, "Hey, what house do you live in?" I'm like, "Oh, look, man, I'm here, just my realtor's supposed to meet me here." And you know what I mean? A lot of times I'll be questioned, but sometimes they'll let me in. And that was just motivation. And I always told everyone around me that, look, if they could do it, why can't we? If they can live in these neighborhoods, why can't we? What are they doing that we're not doing? And let's find out. And I wasn't scared to ask questions. I'm still not scared to ask questions. And I built so many business relationships that way because I'm humble enough to say, you have something I want, and I want to know how you got it. And just provide me the blueprint. And then what I have learned, wealthy people are willing to share the knowledge as long as you're willing to ask for the knowledge. They're not just going to go and provide it. They're waiting for that person. See, the mentor never looks for the mentee. The mentee always has to look for the mentor. Just like the teacher doesn't go look for the student got to go look for the teacher. You know what I mean? So I started leveraging other people that had success. I started turning around and reading certain books. You know what I mean? I have How Money Works, how business works, The Servant Leader, how to win friends and influence people. You know what I mean? So I started just implementing things that I needed to know. So while people was watching like dumb stuff on TV, I was watching YouTube videos about motivational speaking. While people was playing on their cell phones, I was on my cell phone networking with other people that had what I wanted. While people were sitting there watching the football game, I was there trying to read a book. And even if I couldn't read a book, I was listening to the audio. So what I did was different than what 95% of people do, because what people don't understand, they want to become the 5%ers, but they don't want to do what the 5%ers do. And that's why they become the 95%ers. And I said, you know what? If 95% of people, all they doing is watching TV, they can tell you their favorite TV show, the seasons, and what days and times they come on. Well, I'm going to be completely different. I'm going to go out there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to research on what the wealthy people are doing. I'm going to research on how their daily calendar looks like. And that's what I learned. They get up, there's a routine. Even though they have the time freedom, they still stick to a schedule. And that schedule, when you look at it, there's not a lot of waste of time. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. So why is it that they have so much more knowledge, more wisdom than we do? Because, excuse me, they constantly go out there and they look for it. They're searching. While you're searching for the next TV show, they're searching for more wisdom. And I said, you know what? I'm not searching for a TV show. I'm searching for more wisdom. When they're sitting here trying to figure out how they're going to get to the football game, the rich man, the wealthy man is researching what's the next stock to buy. What's the next thing to invest in? How do you make your money work for you and not work for the money, while the average person is trading their time for money? And I have learned that the reason why is because I spend my time wisely and I didn't take time for granted. And
Wow, that
and,
is
and guys,
just
YouTube,
so
YouTube
so
is a powerful thing. YouTube, I
so.
swear, I have a degree in YouTube University with an MBA, a massive bank account.
Oh man, I never heard that acronym before, but I do like that. Massive bank account, MBA. Alrighty. And so before you went ahead and obtain the level of success that you have right now, you did mention that you have mentors and that you utilize different resources to go ahead and earn wisdom. Tell me, what kind of mindset do you need to have, or what kind of mindset do you need to mold, or how I used to call it before I knew about all of this was, how can you rewire your brain to start thinking outside of the box, to start looking for wisdom, to start looking for resources instead of just living the every day to
Well,
day
see,
life
look,
with
well,
no
when we all
change.
are born into this world, we're brainwashed one way or another, right? 95% of people are brainwashed to just become workers. Hard workers go to school, get good grades, go to college, get a good job, live paycheck by paycheck till the day you die, and retirement, you can just forget about it. We see that firsthand. Go to Walmart, look how many people are supposed to retire, but they're still working second and third shift. Go to McDonald's, and you're like, man, you're, with all due respect, you're old. Like, you should be living your best life. But what it was is they were brainwashed the wrong way. So now you have to just brainwash yourself all over again. So how do you do that? Motivational videos on YouTube. Blessed and Unstoppable is a great videos to be watching. And I say it again, Blessed and Unstoppable. And then also self-development. Take the time to invest into self-development. And you can find free courses on YouTube. Just go research, go to Google. Google will tell you everything, free self-development courses. So I did all that. I turned around and basically just spent so much time doing research over and over of the self-development, the mentorship. And then another thing I learned, which I have my book downstairs, is the power of the subconscious mind, right? A lot of people go through so much stuff in life, including myself, that when you try to win, your subconscious mind is telling you like, shut up, sit down, you're a loser. You became homeless. You lost your wife. Your son probably doesn't look at you as the father you think you are or the man that you think you are. So anytime I was trying to move forward, my subconscious mind was kicking me right back down. And that was tricking the idiot upstairs. Tricking the idiot upstairs, what you do is you go to sleep and you actually play a video for 45 minutes to an hour, and you put it under your pillow, and you go to sleep while your mind is listening to this, which is actually triggering the subconscious mind. And when you wake up, you feel like a whole different person, because now when you say you're going to win, your subconscious mind is backing you up and saying, yeah, we're about to win. You know what I mean? So that right there is very, very important for you to trick yourself. And remember, your biggest enemy is you. A lot of people sit there and they want to compare themselves to someone else or their success or what they have. And you're like, oh, well, what I mean? I can't be that person. Or, why don't I see that success? Or why don't I have what they have? Well, you never know what they've been through. You know what I mean? You don't know the sacrifices that they've been through. So I never once compared myself to no one. All I did is I spoke everything into existence. I had the vision board. I had the goals written down, because everyone, look, I'm telling you, I like to call people's BS out. Hey, you got goals? Oh, I got goals, X. What are your goals? And they'll start listening. Do, 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 do. And and Genesis said facts, because she knows. And I'll be like, okay, are they written down? Oh no, but I know them. Well, a goal that's not written down is just a dream. And you can never hit a target that you can't see. They have to be written down with dates, because you have to hold yourself accountable. You know what I mean? This is not like school where you're checking in. They're saying, hey, did you do your work? Oh, you didn't here. Let me hit your hand real quick. That was bad. No, this is life. At the end of the day, no one's going to hold you accountable. And then when you're trying to complain, nobody cares about you, because they have their own stuff they got to worry about. So when you realize that and you're like, you know what? Everything that I want is based off of me. It's based off of my decisions. And then you turn around and you start tricking yourself. You start brainwashing. People say, oh, well, Xavier, I get discouraged. Great. I do too. I'm human. I do too. But I use it for motivation. I was discouraged because I was working weekends. So I'm going to find a way where I don't have to work weekends. I was discouraged because I was working retail, and I was working every evening, every weekend, every holiday, because those are the money makers. I'm like, I want to make money, but I want time freedom. I found a way how to create time freedom. I wasn't discouraged because I didn't have the time freedom. I was motivated because I need to find the time freedom. Another thing I would like to throw in there, see, a lot of people say, well, Xavier, I'm motivated. Great. But see, motivation is for the moment. Dedication is for the lifetime. So I became from motivated to being dedicated. And that's one thing a lot of people fail to do, is just become dedicated. They fail to become focused. Focus on one course until success. Because everybody wants to read a book and say, oh, well, the average millionaire says they have 7 sources of income. So they become a jack of all trades. Great. But I'm gonna tell you this, and my mentor told me this, because I was that individual. Oh, look, I'm you want that? Oh, I got that. Oh, you want this? I got that. Oh, I'm a true hustler. I'm a grinder. Like, but I wasn't seeing success. He goes, Xavier, you're chasing 7 rabbits. You will never catch one. Chase one rabbit and you're going to catch that one. See, what people fail to realize is when they're reading these books, the average millionaire has 7 sources of income, but they focus on one. Focus on one. When you break down the word focus on one course until success. That creates financial freedom and time freedom. Now you can go look for the other 6 investments, because you have the financial freedom to do it and the time freedom to do it. And now you can invest dollar amounts that even if you take a hit, it's not going to change your lifestyle. It's definitely not going to affect your family. So stop getting it twisted with this whole 7 sources of income. It's BS. I'm telling you that right now. I'm yet to meet any of my mentors that are super successful. Say, Xavier, I did 6 things. I did 3 things at once and I blew all 3 of them up. No, it was all one. They blew it up and they became successful because now they had the time freedom and financial freedom.
Wow, that definitely is just very wise words. That is just wow, it's just mind blowing, you know. Many people are taught one thing, and then when you go ahead and hear someone like yourself just sharing this information that you've gotten from your mentors who are successful, now you're successful, and now all these viewers here are listening to your powerful words. Thank you so much for that. I'm gonna go ahead and bring on Angel one more time, to go ahead and ask you one more question, and I'll wait a little bit so you can hear the whole question. Alrighty, alrighty. Okay, Angel, let's get you back on. And it's adding Angel, and wow, that's just crazy. I'm so grateful to go ahead and just meet people and learn from them because, you know, ever since I was in middle school, elementary school, I went ahead and I just loved to go ahead and talk to people. I'm a talker. I'm naturally just a talker. And for me to go ahead and have the ability to talk to people that have experience that I haven't had or have had different experiences than I have is just a blessing. You know, the wisdom that you learned from others, and like he said, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So the point is for you to go ahead and listen and take these words that are meant for good
So
to
I
go
was
ahead and
taking
help.
notes. I'm taking notes. I'm just taking notes because
Angel,
I'm like, okay, this power of subconscious mind. We about to go out and get that book. Like, we need that book. Yeah, we dropping. He's dropping some nuggets, and I love that. I had that on my board to follow one course until successful. It's just a reminder. So X, he already talked about how he obtained his level of success when it comes to mentorship. But how do you attract those people that you work with now? Because Xavier rubs elbows with some very high level people, and that's because simply I believe because he's become one of those people. But we want to know more the nitty gritty of the details of how do you attract, coming from where you come from, your background, how did you start attracting the people that you work with now, those high level, just people in general?
absolutely, absolutely. And that is such a great question, Angel. How do you attract the right type of people to go ahead and be around you, to go ahead and mentor you and to learn from them?
Okay.
Because, like we said before, you can't just have anyone. It's not going to work that way. Xavier, go right ahead. How do you discern what individuals to go ahead and have around you and attract the right type of
Well,
individuals as
the
well?
first part of the question is, if you got what I want, I'm coming around you. You know what I mean? Those are the people I'm gonna put around myself, not the people that don't have what I don't want. For example, if you hang around 5 crackheads, you're gonna become a 6'1". You hang around 5 successful people, you're gonna be the 6'1" by default. So I feel the way I've been able to rub shoulders with these individuals. Yes, now I'm in a position where my track record speaks for itself. So it's not more of like me trying to get in the door. The door is kind of more open for me now. But before that, for me to get in that door is several different things. Well, one, my confidence. If I knocked on the door and that door didn't open, I'm kicking the door down and I'm gonna introduce myself. Hey, my name is Xavier, right? First of all, too many people are scared. They're knocking on the door, our opportunity is not opening. Oh, well, we're going to kick that door down. Or I'm climbing through the window, one or the other, right? But I'm getting in that building. I'm getting in that room, period. So when people will look me in the eyes, they seen that fire. They seen that I wanted more. And one, I did it in a respectful way. Two, I stood very, very humble. And three, I showed them appreciation, and not appreciation where I became like a brown nosed person or a yes man, because at the end of the day, they don't respect that. A more of a appreciation that if I'm in front of you, I already have a list of questions that I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna get straight to the point, and whatever advice you give me, I'm gonna show you respect by going and doing exactly what you told me to do. See, a lot of people want to sit there and waste individuals' time because it happens to me all the time. Xavier, I want to see this. I want to reach the same level of success. What did you do? I give them step by step. on what to do, and they're doing something completely different. Then they have the nerves to try to get a hold of me again and be like, well, this didn't work, and no, you didn't respect my time from the beginning, and you disrespected me by going against what I said. You tried a whole different way. If I can only teach you what I know, and if I sat there and created the wheel and it's working, and then you want to try to create another wheel and then you want to come back to me after you took up my time to ask me the same question, then I have to say, with all due respect, I got other people lined up that rather speak to me and they're going to respect what I tell them. Now you're going to keep trying to come back around for what? You're wasting my time and you're being disrespectful to me and the other people that are really hungry. So I showed them that. I showed them that anytime I came around them, it wasn't just to shake their hands or take pictures. It was more to let me pick your brain and let me take notes. And they seen that I was taking notes. They seen that I was motivated. If they asked me what my vision was, my goal was, my mission was, I was able to tell them right away because I came up with all that before I even entered that room because I knew that's what they was going to expect. So when I came into that room and they seen like, yo, hold on, this is a Puerto Rican kid from the ghetto that has no success, but he's coming in here with confidence. He's coming in here with a notebook with questions already written down. He's coming. He's not wasting my time. He's not just trying to shake my hands or trying to just take pictures. And everything I told him, he's writing this down. And then because they sit back and they watch. And when I sat there and just they watch me, they're like, man, he's moving the way I'm telling him to move. And see, the other thing is where I came from, it was all about principles and morals, and that's what kept you alive, right? Respect and loyalty. So I implemented that in my business. It was about principles and morals, and it was about respect, and it was about loyalty. It was about working with integrity. So when there was decisions that had to be made where I could have made money off of it, but I knew I was screwing somebody over, especially someone that taught me something, I didn't make it. I didn't go with that deal. And my mentor was told me, Xavier, see what kills a lot of people in business, they would jump over dollars to get to pennies. Write that down. People would jump over dollars to get to pennies. And what I mean is, let's think about even the corporate world, right? In a corporate world, if you work on sales, you get a customer, you're trying to milk them out of every single commission, every dollar they have so you can make the most commission. I never did that. I actually would listen and build a report, and whatever they needed is what I offered them. What ended up happening, I didn't make that much money off of that individual, but they went and told 10 other people, and all 10 of them came, and I made so much more money. So stop jumping over dollars to get to pennies because you will forever be a worker and not a boss. You will forever working chasing the money. And one thing is, when you chase the money, it runs from you. But when you really sit there and you help people, the money just comes to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And you know what? Working in the financial industry, I've worked in the industry for a couple years now, about 5 to 6 years. And something that they do teach you in the financial industry is, they teach you the services and the products that they offer to the clients. And I've worked for different companies, a couple different companies, Wells Fargo in the past, and a couple different banks. And what I've learned, company that is the most successful is the company that has values and has morals. I mean, I used to be an assistant manager at Panera Bread, and even though it's a food service industry, they still had what's called training for the entire region in Tampa. And what we used to do, I was one of the facilitators. They would take all of the stores and they would take all of the employees and they would facilitate a training to teach them the morals and value of the company. And that for me, even though it was corporate America that taught it to me, what was the most important thing was having those values, the morals, and having that wisdom to go ahead and do your job right by your clients more than anything else and overall. And so for me to go ahead and learn that, that was just powerful. And thank you so much for just sharing that information. Angel, do you have any other questions for Xavier? I did have one more Bible story I wanted to give you guys. It's just a beautiful metaphor, but I just want to check in with Angel real quick, okay? Angel White. Alrighty.
Huh?
All right, Angel. Any last
So
questions or
our
comments you want
last
to
piece, we
share?
talked about experience, knowledge, judgment. Judgment. How do you discern among individuals that surround you to ensure that you have the proper influences in your personal and your business life? How do you discern that discernment?
All right, discernment. And for those of you that are not familiar with that word, discernment is to be able to choose and to pick. Because I know in my history, I've had friends that, being very transparent, that I just had to cut off. There's just those friends, those family members that are around you, and honestly, they're just sucking you dry with the negative energy. You have a vision, you have goals, you're trying to listen to your mentors, and when you go home or when you go ahead and spend time with these individuals, they just drain you dry. So, what advice do you have for them to go ahead and discern among the people that are around you, even if it is somebody that you hold dear and love, to go ahead and separate yourself? Or what do you do to go ahead and choose to do better and choose the wise decisions rather than the same thing
I
that
think I
they've been
kind of
doing for
heard only
years?
half of the questions, but look, I heard enough. You ever heard that song? You need to cut it, right? That's all it is. You know what I mean? At the end of the
Yes.
day, you got to determine, right? Do I keep this loved one? I, I'll be honest with you. I'll be bluntly. That's why.
I think we're cutting off a little bit.
Can you hear me now? Okay,
Okay,
perfect.
yes, I
So
can
what
hear
I
you
was
now.
saying is just like the song. You just need to cut it, right? Guys, look, to be very transparent, that's the reason why I went through a divorce. You know what I mean? There was nothing that was healthy for me or my son or even for her. And at the end of the day, I had to grow. So unfortunately, I had to make a decision. You know what I mean? Do we continue going this path, which is unhealthy? It was physical abuse, there was verbal abuse, you know what I mean? There was mental abuse, there was spiritual abuse. And I knew that wasn't healthy. So I had to cut that, right? On top of that, I grew up with some people that I know they're my ride or die. To this day, you know what I mean? I still keep them around, but I keep them at a distance because their mindset has not changed and there's no growth. Now, of course, I go back home, I still get the love, I still get treated with respect. No one lost respect for me and think that I'm too better for them. But I had the conversation with them. I said, look, fam, look, check this out. You guys doing what y'all doing. You can chill on the block. Y'all could keep pitching whatever y'all want to pitch, and you can live the lifestyle that you want. Unfortunately, I don't want to live this lifestyle. Unfortunately, I went to too many funerals. Unfortunately, I went to the jails too many times. It hit home. I'm telling you, my brothers were affected, my moms, my dad. There's so many people that are affected where I'm like, look, I have to make a change to the point where I told you at 18 years old, I told my mom I was leaving. Not that I had to cut my parents off. I had to get out that environment. And I had the conversation with them. So at the end of the day, I'm to the point now, almost 18 years later, I mean, yes, I'm old. I'm 36 years old. I just turned 36 the other day. But what ended up happening is like, look, if you're not pouring life into me and I can't pour life into you, because it's not always about me receiving. I love giving, right? So if you're not pouring life into me or you're not allowing me to pour life into you, then you got to go because you see what's happening. You see the vision. And before I was successful, you already knew what I was going after. And that was it. So for me to cut somebody off, oh, trust me, I can be very cold-hearted because I know my future depends on it. I know my entire empire that I created, that is thousands of people, rely on it. So why is it that I'm gonna sit here and make a decision that's going to be so hard for someone to make, where it's like one or 10 lives can be affected, or I can sit here and affect thousands of lives. So look, if you ain't with it, then get out. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like get down or lay down. That's basically how it gets that how I do it. And there's no emotionals attached to it because at the end of the day, guess what? That money train can come right back around. So I'm gonna come back around and try to get that person to get on that train again. But if they're not with it, I'm not slowing my train down. My vehicle will never slow down for anybody. You can hurry up and jump on it, and we're gonna keep riding. But I'm not stopping on or coming off an exit while I'm speeding through a highway of success because you don't have your mind together. or your mindset. No, I'm gonna hit you with the information the same way I'm hitting you guys with the information and knowledge. But it's up to you if you're gonna go ahead and take this and apply it. Because if not, all you did is wasted your own time. I'm gonna do this regardless. So me, I decide to just do that. Have the mindset where I can cut somebody off, and it really ain't gonna affect me at all. Because if I don't cut them off, it's really gonna affect me. If that makes any sense to you guys, like that's basically the way I think, and that's how I move. And there's no see people. This is the thing. Learn about emotional control. Okay. Once you learn about emotional control, you become the most powerful person in that room. And on top of that, always remind this: emotions do not clear through the bank. Period. That's it.
Mm-hmm. 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 Wow, wow. Those are some powerful nuggets you dropped there. You know, it's so many things that happen in our lives, and we come into contact with people, but at the end of the day, those people that you have around you will rub off on you. Like you said earlier, the 5 people that you're around, you'll be the 6. If they're positive, you'll be the 6. If they're negative and they're going nowhere or they're going in circles, you're going to be going right there with them. So that in itself is just very powerful. It may not have been difficult to move to a whole nother state like you did, but you wanted to go ahead and have that change bad enough that you went ahead and you changed that. And the emotional control is very, very important. Because if you focus on the relationship that you had with this individual, with this group, with this family members, and you don't focus on your goals and where you want to go and where you want your children to go, you're going to let the emotions take a hold of you. And you're not going to be able to go in the direction that you want just because you feel bad or because of the history. No, 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 no. You have to focus. And that falls into wisdom. You have to be wise and make the wise decision. You don't completely have to cut people off, but you know what? You have to keep your distance. You can't constantly be around somebody or some people that are going to go ahead and just suck you dry. And let's see here. Angel, do you have anything else to ask Xavier? Any last comments? All right, Angel. Yeah, and you know that story that I did want to share before Angel comes on or when she comes on. I know that Xavier mentioned earlier that if he wanted it bad enough, he'll go ahead and kick that door down, or he'll go through that window, he'll break that window. He's gonna make it happen because he wants it bad enough, because he's going ahead to go ahead and mold his mindset to be the way it needs to be to get where he wants to be, to get where he wants his family and his son to be. And there is a Bible story that says, I'm Hispanic, so I went to a Spanish church as a child, and there's a chorus in a Bible verse that says, Jacob peleó con un ángel por una bendición. And what that means is Jacob fought with an angel to go ahead and get his blessing. And sometimes things, all the time, things are not going to be easy. But if you ask for it bad enough and you ask God, God, this is what I need. I know that, for example, I have anxiety and depression. It's something I deal with every single day. But God, I know that you're going to give me the power, and I'm going to keep going because that's what I want. I want a better life for me. I want a better life for my daughter. I want to fulfill my purpose and make a difference in the lives of the people that I come into contact with now and in the future. I want to take my experiences and I want to be able to give life to others. And if you don't fight for that, you won't get there. Because if you expect for things to be easy, guess what? That's not being wise. That's being foolish. And it says it in the book of Proverbs. That's one of my favorite books in the Bible. Angel, go ahead. Let me stop.
Well, I mean, just like what you said, I didn't have any other questions, but you know, Xavier, obviously he's a man of God, right? So I would like to know, since you talked, Zajanari, so much about your favorite Bible stories, I want to know what's one of his favorite stories, or one of his favorite, characters from the Bible, and how did that help to shape him? How did that help to kind of mold him? Because I know, like, for me, I love the story of King David, how he started off as a shepherd boy. He was actually looked over by his own father, and then he was actually chosen by God. So sometimes the person who was looked over by people will be the one that God chooses. But that's one of my favorite Bible stories. I want to know with Xavier, and then he became a king, one of the most powerful kings, who's actually the father of Solomon. So I would like to know from Xavier's standpoint, because he mentioned that he opens up the Bible, he reads his verses. What's one of his favorite Bible stories or characters that kind of influenced him?
Wow, that is such a great question, and I am definitely curious to go ahead and find out because this I do not know of him, my friend. So it's gonna be something I'm gonna learn. Okay, so let's see. Xavier, what is your favorite Bible story? Let's see. X, where you at? Okay, okay. All right, favorite Bible story. And you know, the Bible is a book that's referred to as a book that is filled with wisdom. No matter what religion you have, the Bible is a book of wisdom. And so, X, what's your favorite Bible
Man, that's
story?
simple. It's David and Goliath. Like at the end of the day,
Oh,
um, I'm David, and whatever obstacle comes in front of me is Goliath. And I will look at Goliath and let him know by the end of before sunrise. I'm sorry, before the sun goes down, the birds will be feeding off of your flesh because I'm going to go ahead and destroy whatever obstacle is put in front of me. See, a lot of people sit there and they view themselves this small and they view their problems this big, and they're like, man, I can never win this battle. And one thing is Goliath had that whole village, that whole city so intimidated and so scared, and they will bow down to him. So whatever he wanted, that's what they were doing. Well, David came with the confidence, and he already knew that Jesus didn't have to worry. Like there was no worries because Jesus already knew that he was going to be he there was Jesus knows at the end of the day that he's not worrying about the devil. The devil's already been defeated by God. So why is he worrying about it? So you guys are so worried about all these problems that's going on, not knowing that if honestly if you have your faith up, it doesn't matter how big the obstacle is, and you're David and that's Goliath, you're still going to win. So to me, I love that story. I remind myself that every single time going through something that might be tough. It's more like I'm gonna be victorious today. So I tell people all the time when you're going through a battle, when you're going through something what you consider hard, then excuse me, I gotta sneeze. I thought I had a sneeze. When you're going through something when you're going through something like that, be happy because all that means there's big blessings on the other end. So fight the storm. I mean, ride throughout the storm, fight the battles. You know what I mean? And I guarantee you, right on the other end is blessings. On the other end is happiness. On the other end is everything that you're looking for. So that's one of my favorite stories is David and Goliath.
wow, wow. And that's so beautiful. X, thank you so, so, so much for being on this show tonight with me and Angel. It's been a pleasure. We've learned so much and learned a little bit more about you and your story and what you've gone through. And I just want to say thank you for your time and your wisdom that you've gone ahead and learned and shared with us. So thank you so, so much.
Thank you.
Alrighty, and without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and bring on Angel to go ahead and wrap this show up for tonight. We had Xavier Marrero. He is wow, he just dropped so much
Yes,
wisdom
yes,
on
yes.
us.
I'm excited. Listen, I was taking notes. Like X tells us, you better be taking notes. So I got my notes. I just wanted to say thank you. I didn't have anything else.
Yeah.
I just wanted to thank, Z for putting this together. I wanted to thank X for jumping on and to just pouring some golden nuggets on us because we definitely took note and we're going to act on the things that we've heard tonight. So I just want to thank him. Thank you so much for being an amazing mentor to me. I know that when I met X, it was like 3 years. I want to say 3 years ago, and I was in a broken place, right? But when we used to go to lunch together, and there was something about this guy. I was like, there's something about this guy. I just want to continue to keep being around him, just that spirit. You know what I'm saying? And look at how he brings it back full circle. I didn't know how it was gonna happen, but God brought this opportunity, and now here we are 3 years later, and I'm just grateful. So thank you so much, X. We appreciate you so much, just for pouring into us, for being the leader that you are. God bless you.
God bless you. And so, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Night Owl Talk with me and Angel. We're gonna go ahead and come out with a couple new things. Next episode, we're gonna go ahead and reveal our logo, and we're soon gonna be putting together so you can see all of our episodes. If there's anyone that you want to go ahead and see as a guest speaker on here or a guest host, just go ahead and send us a message to me or Angel, and we'll be more than happy to go ahead and investigate and see what we can do. Thank you, Xavier. You are so inspiring, man of God, and we're just grateful to be around you. Guys, you have a great Martin Luther King weekend. Oh, no work on Monday, guys. Alrighty. So, God bless you guys. I'm so excited. And we'll see you next Thursday at 10. We're going to have another guest speaker. I'm going to announce it later. So be excited. Come with your notebooks. And we're going to go ahead and just grow. Night Owl Talk, guys. Bye.